Hi guys, my name is Toby Balogun, and I have a guest in studio with me today, Mr. IK. Yeah. So you mentioned something a while ago about genetic
Enhancement.
genetic enhancement. To be honest, I don't think I've heard about it before, and I want you to educate me and educate the viewers about what genetic engineering means.
Okay. Um, in a very plain and elementary language, genetic enhancement is about using medical procedures to let. I don't want to use the word enhance, but it's using medical procedure to kind of make changes either in our appearance or genetic modification. It is
Mm-hmm.
using medical means
Mm-hmm.
to modify our gene or our cells. For instance, the most common is the BBL, Brazilian Bull League,
Mm.
where some person can go pay a, a physician to either upload their book or maybe work on their study books.
Mm.
So, but the problem of genetic enhancement goes beyond just the Brazilian booking and enhancing our look. Sometimes it has to it has to do with enhancing our memory, the enhancement of sex,
Mm.
um, enhancing our our physical appearance and all that. So genetic enhancement goes beyond just the Brazilian bootleg, the the working on saggy boobs and all that. So it deals with trying to enhance our memory, trying to enhance our skills,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes working on an eye and all that. So from our field of study,
Yeah.
philosophy, you know, philosophy is this field of unresolved controversies
Yeah.
where answers do not displace questions.
Mm.
Every answers you arrive at always lead to further questions.
Without questions.
And then philosophers have looked ahead as regard genetic enhancement. Some have this kind of religious argument against genetic enhancement. The argument is, are we to enhance ourselves? Are we to enhance our children? We are product of one supreme being. God has created us the way He thinks fit.
Mm.
And then some of these philosophers are encouraging us to accept either our children, ourselves, just as the way we are, or just as we see them. And then chiefly amongst them, uh, we have Jürgen Habermas, we have Francis Fukuyama, and Michael Sandel.
Mm.
So Michael Sandel, on his own part, is kind of approaching the problem from the religious perspective and also social perspective. From the religious perspective, for instance, he's saying children are gifts from God,
Mm.
and as such, we should be open to the gift. So he regards children as he regards the gift of children as the unbidden,
Mm.
what you did not bid for.
Mm.
So when a child comes, you are to receive this child as a gift,
Mm.
You have to be open to whatever gift you are receiving.
You're receiving.
For instance, I'm coming to your house and I tell you, hey, Toby, I have a gift for you. Whatever I give you as a gift, you have to accept. But
Okay.
are we to accept all
I was about saying that I can choose not to accept your gift.
Yeah. For instance, like
Although it will look awkward.
even if it's going to look awkward, according to my people, the Benin people, they'll say that if you are to give me gift, please don't give me the head of a serpent or a scorpion. That those are not. So somebody coming to present a scorpion or the head of a serpent as a gift, are you to receive such
No.
gift? So Michael Sandel is saying you can use genetic enhancement for medical purpose only. Maybe in treating of sickle cell anemia, in treating of debilitating diseases. But using it to enhance yourself is something that is philosophically problematic.
So it's more like it's against Brazilian bottling.
Yeah, it's against Brazilian bottling, using it to increase your height and all that. But the question that rattles me, or the questions that makes me unsettled is, have humans always be open to this unbidding without not necessarily intervening? Have we humans leave everything to chance, whereby whatever nature is giving to us, we just accept just like that? We don't intervene. Even before the discussion of genetic enhancement, let's go back to Africa where we can. Africans do not necessarily live things to chance. When a woman is pregnant, traditional African homes, we want to go extra length.
That's similar to genetic engineering
Thank you.
indirectly.
Yeah, they want to go extra length, trying to do one or two sacrifices to make sure the child comes out healthy, he or she is not deformed, he or she is not going to bring reproach to the parent, the child will have a good life and all that. And if you deep down into African philosophy, for instance, you come across somebody like Shegun Gbadegesin that wrote about this Yoruba concept of person. Then you see argument that when somebody is having a destiny that is not bringing good tidings, the person tends to offer sacrifices in order to, let's say, change the course of the destiny. I feel same thing applies to genetic enhancement.
Yeah.
For instance, you have this likeness for basketball, but there is a problem due to height. You can either use genetic enhancement to give you the considerable height that will make you fulfill, should I say, your passion or destiny, as the case may be. So, if we equally say parents are to accept their children just as they are, the question that looms large is there any time in human history where we have always considered children as gifts, gifts from God that do not require our intervention? Take, for instance, society where people are hunting people with hunchback, society that vilifies abuse, for instance, society that vilifies, let's say, those who have speech.
Non-verbal.
Yeah, non-verbal. When someone is expecting a baby, and you know the acceptance rate of your society, where God forbid the baby is having one kind of medical deformity, and you know definitely the society is going to reject this child, just as this guy was rejected. What's his name? This guy in Olarotimi played the Ghost and not to be blamed. Just as that guy was rejected. Now you have society that reject maybe children with albinism, children with hunchback, and we've learned in society across East and West Africa where such people are being hunted and killed for ritual purpose. Now, would any parents want to sit back and accept such disadvantaged gifts
Well,
without not necessarily intervening?
I have a question though,
Okay.
especially as regard to children. Genetic engineering,
Yeah.
from your explanation, it's not only applicable to children,
Yeah.
even to adults.
Yeah.
So I feel like when it comes down to children, it's a little bit more complicated because now, as adults we're making our own decision that okay,
Yeah.
this is what I want. I want to get Brazilian butt lift. I
Yeah.
want to do this. But for kids, or for the unborn, or for the fetus, we as parents, you are the one making the decision for them.
Yeah.
So how do you even know that you're making best decision for this child, even though the fetus has and this kind of showing the fetus has
Albinism.
albinism, for instance. So it's more like you putting your own opinion over the unborn child. I don't know if you get my point. Okay, unborn child has no opinion,
Yeah.
but it's kind of dicey.
Okay.
Is it not selfishness?
Well, that is very good argument that the parents are being egocentric
Exactly.
without not putting these kids into consideration. But have you had time? Have you had time to maybe have conversations with people that suffer one of these deformities?
Mm.
Maybe hunchback, or I'm not considering albinism, people living
Mm.
with albinism as deformity, no.
Yeah.
But let's take albinism for instance. You see how the society tends to treat them. For instance, if you even see most of our skit makers, the way they portray people living with
We do have,
albinism,
even do have.
even with dwarf, for instance, the way they portray these people, they are already showing to the community of people living with albinism that you are not openly accepted. So if a parent is being egocentric that okay, maybe I want to enhance this child. I want this child to have good IQ.
Mm.
I want this child to have bright eyesight and all that. The thing is, it's still going to be beneficial for the
Mm.
child. For instance, you've enhanced the memory of the child. And this child, when he or she grows up, she's having a very high IQ, she has good retentive
Mm.
memory. I don't think any child will come up and say, Dad, why did you enhance me to have this retentive memory? However, the problem is if we foreclose the future of the child, foreclosing the future is that maybe I want my child to study, let's say, operation research. Then now I am now enhancing that child to grow up and like operation research. I think that's where the problem arises. I think that aspect is real problematic. But when you're giving this child an open check, to an open future.
You think it's an open check? Whatever the child, okay, for instance, now,
Yeah.
I think sometimes there are certain things that we know and wish we do not know.
Yeah.
They'll say ignorance is bliss, or how do
Yeah.
they put it?
Ignorance
So
is
exactly. So imagine a child that you enhance the IQ and
Yeah.
it's so intelligent that there are certain things that the child is even aware about now
Yeah.
that the child shouldn't be aware about on the norms. And now the child is very bothered about his or her own knowledge. Don't you think that that would even be haunting the child? That would be a problem on the child psychologically. Physically, the society might see it as good. Even people maybe at workplace or in his workplace or in school or whatever. But personally, like dealing with this mentally, psychologically, you're feeling like you know too much. It's just like, let's go back to tradition. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the fetish part of it, maybe
Yeah.
traditionally. If you're saying what others are not saying, yourself you become terrified. Like you become scared. Like I know too much. So that is what I'm saying with like IQ. When your IQ is way too high that you feel like you know what others don't know, or I feel like it might lead to frustration.
Well, that is another argument, and that's a laudable argument. But if we say now, we'll not bring the political aspect to
Okay.
this, where we might need some kind of legislation
Okay.
that before you enhance someone,
Mm.
you need to first of all test the intelligence quotient, the IQ
Mm.
of the person.
So you put a limit.
You put a limit.
Mm.
Now, in order to bring about solidarity, we all know that nature on its own is not fair.
Mm.
Take Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, for instance. The world is singing their praises. Everybody is saying, "Oh, you either be a Ronaldo fan
Mm.
or you are a Messi fan, or that." We have other good footballers as well, where we don't bring them into the equation.
For sure.
Yeah, I read about one of Lionel Messi's cousin of him who played football, and the world did not even get to know him.
Mm.
You get
This
now?
life no balance.
Yeah, thank you. Now, in order for we to mitigate this kind of unequal balance in nature, why don't we have a legislation whereby the least well off, according to uh, what's his name, John Ross, the least well off in our society should be given the enhancement.
Basically, it should be regulated.
It should be regulated.
That's a nice way to like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's say the
Mm.
least well off in our society
Mm.
should be enhanced. Now, let's I don't want to make a disparaging comment.
Mm.
Okay, let's say there is a threshold for height where maybe you want to put in for government job, for instance.
Mm.
Let's say security outfit, security job, and now the government is saying applicant must be of this and this height, this measurement, and we've already seen that if we go by that gov, if we go by that criteria for the job, a lot of persons will be uh, excluded. Those who did not meet the height requirement will be excluded. So now let's take a borderline. Let's say 5 feet. 5 feet is the criteria to apply for government, some aspect of government job like the security architecture and all that. Now let's say 5 feet is the borderline. Then who are those that need the enhancement? Those below 5. So it is not something we just do, we do arbitrarily, like you give birth to a child, you've not even tested the child IQ, you don't know what this child is going to become. Then the next thing, you want a superhuman, then you are going to give the child the enhancement.
Mm.
There should be some kind of legislation whereby
Mm.
if you are having children that are deficient in memory, then these children should be given enhancement. Just like, for instance, if you're not sick of malaria, you can't treat yourself of malaria. So let it be that, okay, in order to address this disadvantaged gift, let it be that those who are already disadvantaged, according to John Ross, should be given the enhancement in order to bring about equality.
To be honest, I think I agree with. I won't call it conclusion because
Yeah.
for me, suppose I'm writing a paper, I will conclude on this.
Yeah.
That instead of having it any way that anybody can get into genetic engineering, we should kind of put a limit on, not limit like regulate it.
Yeah.
It should be regulated, just like Brazilian blood lift. It should be regulated. We have a lot of people that lost their life already due to this issue. So it should be regulated. And we've seen people that they have good physique, good body structure, but due to that no, not even like they are selfish.
Yeah.
No, not selfish. They are not contented with what
Thank
they
you.
want,
Thank
and they
you.
want to like
Thank you.
get into. So that's one by that. And another thing that I feel like it might be problematic, and we need to address, especially when it comes to job, is discrimination. I feel like when we say um, we need someone this height for this job,
Yeah.
we need someone that height for this job.
Yeah.
Is that not discrimination?
I think that is where the social inequality comes to play. Now, nature on itself, like as I said earlier, is not fair.
Mm-hmm.
Some persons naturally are disadvantaged.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know how we can have this social inclusion where, okay, you want to put in for like a security job and they're
Mm-hmm.
telling you applicants must be 5 feet tall
Mm-hmm.
or 6 feet, 6 feet tall as the case may be.
Mm.
But on the other hand, those who do not meet this criteria are already excluded.
Mm.
Now that's social exclusion.
Mm.
Is there any way we can bring everybody together? And I don't know if I'm being selfish, but I feel there are still some job requirements that need some specific height.
Mm.
For instance, to play basketball, you need to meet some height criteria.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sound like me can play basketball.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now it's like telling a dog to go to the river and swim,
Mm-hmm.
while telling the fish to come land and live.
That makes sense.
So I feel if we have to address this social inequality,
Mm.
that's where we need genetic enhancement
Mm.
in order to address this problem.
Mm.
Because if we say that, okay, people should be contented with
Mm.
whatever nature gives to them, whether you tall, you black, or this or that, socially or based on how egocentric we are, some persons will still exclude those who are naturally disadvantaged. Now, in order to make everybody feel more, in order to bring that sense of belonging to everyone, let it be that the least well off, those who are already naturally disadvantaged, should have not unchecked, but
Mm.
checked access to genetic enhancement.
Mm.
I think that is the only place where we can manage these whole things so that we don't have a situation of arm race. Arm race whereby maybe you're already 6 feet tall. Now you see someone that is maybe 7 feet. Now you want to go increase your height. Now this person that is 7 feet, he has seen someone that is 8 feet. You want to go increase your height, just like that. So it will leave everybody in an arm race. So in order for us to deal with such problem, it should be that let's have the John Ross model. Let it be that those who are least well off should have access to genetic enhancement.
Enhancement. I have I have one more question. I feel like you kind of answered the psychological part. You answered the discrimination, and I have one more question.
Yeah.
But before I go on with the question, do you care for chicken nuggets? I know it might be informal. Like, do you care for
Shebi
chicken
you go
nuggets?
edit am.
Yeah, most likely we'll be able to
Yeah,
get that part away.
yeah. So,
Do you care for it?
but if I think need water as well. But no worry, I get for back. Maybe when I'm out. You don't stop.
One like with chicken nuggets. I want to what I said
And why?
video calls
Okay.
so we just try.
And
So, and I use the opportunity to see things. Let's
okay.
let's continue.
Okay. What's the question?
Yeah,
Fire.
yeah. So yeah, I'm back. Oh, we're back. So I think the question was the more we get into the
Conversation.
conversation, the more I have like
Yeah.
questions. So I'll try to reduce my questions. So the one I have right now is there is I believe you work in social services. I
Yeah.
do too.
Yeah.
And we've seen different people with different abilities.
Yeah.
Someone we've seen autistic child that even though the child is autistic, the child can tell you. I know someone that can tell you 100 plus 1 million plus 10 within a minute, right? And there's this common like adage in the field, and there'll be that having different people with different abilities made the world colorful. So now, if we say, oh, okay, people with less this, less that, that we want to enhance them, you don't you think that this colorful won't be in the picture again? Because now we are kind of equal, and that inequality, that imbalance that we have in the society, don't you think that it kind of keep the society functioning just like we have good and evil? So we can't have everything all good and we can't have everything all bad. So we have it like cold and warm or cold and hot. So my major question is that again, if we say like the kids with less ability or something, that we should enhance the genetic stuff or their genetic composition, don't you think that we'll be eliminating that adage of having different people with different ability makes the world colorful?
Um, I know definitely we want a society that um, we want a society of inclusion,
Hmm.
just like we are living in Canada now.
Mm-hmm.
There is this social inclusion whether you're white, person of
Yeah.
color, or not. There is this social inclusion, and then everyone wants to live in a world where he or she, irrespective of their ability, they are able to strive, live, and then fulfill their aspirations. Um, I'm not trying to undermine that assertion that that aspect of the world being colorful when we have people with different abilities. But the the issue at hand is if we take a look at John Ross model, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, the well-off already feel burdened by the least well-off. Like for instance, if you have a relative that is not financially doing well and you're already somewhere close to the top of the ladder, in one way or the other, you feel the burden of the relative, that the close relative that is still at the base.
I might not necessarily feel it, even though we're relative.
Maybe like a sibling.
I might not feel it.
You
There are
may
siblings that they don't really care. They don't, not even they don't really care. They don't care about
now
one another.
now if we now have children with such ability, for instance, like the autism
Mm.
and others, they need people to care for them.
Mm-hmm.
They need people that will be here for them.
100%.
Now, if I go by your own argument that if I have a sibling that is at the base of
Mm-hmm.
the ladder, I don't necessarily have to care. So, if I should tailor your argument into two premises and one conclusion, I should be saying let the autistic individuals care for themselves and
Um,
people don't necessarily have to care for them.
but there are people that can carry out the job and they get paid by the government. That's why we have
Th-
support workers.
Thank you, but in one way or the other, it's because we're living in a developed world
Yeah. Yeah.
where government is responsible to the people.
Mm.
Now, when you come from some other third world countries
Mm.
where government less care about
Yeah.
our
Even the
citizens,
society
yeah,
itself, like the people.
yeah, the society less care for the people. Now you already see that these people are left behind.
Yeah.
That's why in Nigerian legislature, I think sometimes ago you see they were trying to push a bill for inclusion of the
Mm.
disabled
Mm.
that let's make reservation for like let's have one or two disabled persons in the legislative arm of government. We have 360 House of Rep members.
Wow. Wow.
And inside that 360, there is no one living with less ability.
Mm.
We don't have anyone that is visually impaired. We don't have anyone that is having speech defect.
Mm.
Another.
Inclusion.
So there is already a segregation
Yeah.
and exclusion of this set of persons,
Yeah.
of people. Now, even in Western countries, developed world, for instance, I don't want to argue out of ignorance.
Mm.
I doubt if we go to maybe our legislative house here,
Mm.
if we can come across one, two, three, four persons that are living with disability.
I don't know for sure. Though I follow some of them on LinkedIn and I follow
Yeah,
some of them on Instagram,
yeah,
but I don't think I've seen. But you know, as regard disability, you know, mental illness like bipolar is also disability.
yeah,
So some of them might be dealing with this. Maybe they are not physically disabled.
yeah.
They
But
might be
but
psychologically disabled.
we're looking at people who are physically
Oh, that's true.
disabled.
That's right. That's
We are
right.
looking at people who are physically disabled. So if you go to the Nigeria, what's it called, National House of Assembly, not even the National House of Assembly, we have 36 states, and each of those states have their own House of Assembly. I doubt if you walk from Lagos down to Abuja, Kapatan, and the rest, you see one House of Assembly where there is a physically disabled member. So these people are already segregated. There is already an exclusion. Now,
This is a nice
to
argument.
in order to bring these people together, because every now and then you see bill coming to the house, hey, let's make reservations for those who are living with disability. Let's have one or two seats for them.
Even
Let's
developed countries, sorry to cut you short, apologies. Even developed countries, like again, I don't want to talk out of ignorance
ignorance.
too,
Yeah,
but based on what I've seen, I don't think I've seen any representative that is physically disabled.
disabled. Now,
To be, oh, wow,
even
that's good.
even if we say, okay, maybe somebody might point us to, maybe have you visited Australia? Have you been to New Zealand? Have
Mm,
you been to Norway? Have you been to Iceland? Maybe if you travel the length and breadth, you might come across one disabled lawmaker, or maybe
mm,
one. But let's argue from where we're from. 109 senators, 360 House of Rep members, 36 state House of Assembly. We don't even want to go to the local government
mm,
legislative arm.
mm,
We're talking about the House of Assembly and the National Assembly.
mm.
I have, if I've not seen up to 100 senators, current House of, current
Yeah,
Senate
yeah.
House, I don't think I've seen anyone with physical deformity.
Mm,
So there is already a seclusion. There is already exclusion. So these people are already excluded from, should I say, governance?
mm,
Then, if we are now trying to bring about social inclusion, let's include everyone. It's still going to be like we are still going to push for legislature. Let's have 10 seats reserved for those living with physical deformity. But what if we just say, let's throw it open? Let everybody go out there and compete.
mm,
When, let's say, somebody, sorry, that is dwarfish in nature,
mm,
is given enhancement to have maybe come up reasonable height. Let's say somebody that is maybe visually impaired from birth. I know there are already medical procedures like good lenses to aid
mm,
visual impairment, to help, you know, settle the problem of visual impairment. But when we have genetic genetic enhancement for the least welfare, I think there will be balance of equality. There will
mm,
be balance of equality where you don't send somebody to the National Assembly to go legislate and then give you crumbs where your voice are not being heard. Even when they call for, I remember how they've been pushing for, let's reserve 30% of the National Assembly seat for women, at least 30%.
mm,
But if you still go to the Nigerian National Assembly today, I doubt if they have up to 30%
mm,
of women. It is still male dominated, male centered. So if even women who are not physically deformed, are not physically disabled, are still excluded.
mm.
Not to talk of those
Yeah.
who naturally, nature has been felt.
Hmm. So, for me personally, would I say nature is unfair? I mean,
Sorry, it is, I think it is something we can't even dispute. Nature is unfair. I made, I gave an example earlier. I read that Lionel Messi has a
hmm,
cousin that plays football. If you go out there and ask anyone, do you know of any Lionel Messi? cousins that play football, they'll tell you, no, the only person we know from that family is Lionel Messi. But he had he has a cousin that play football. Maybe the guy is retired now. I think so. He should be retired. Nobody's talking about him.
Really.
Messi, even somebody will say Messi took time to develop his skill.
I mean, I was about saying that.
Yeah, Messi took time to develop his skill, but there are still some players who also took time to develop themselves. But let's just admit or conclude that they are not as naturally talented and gifted like Lionel Messi. Even the philosophers who argued against genetic enhancement, they are not oblivious of the claim that nature is unfair, that
Mm,
some are naturally gifted, while some are not naturally gifted.
um, I, I mean, if I'm to like, let's say this is like we're writing a formal paper.
Yeah.
For me, I would conclude that instead of getting into that genetic enhancement, I feel like we as human beings, we can't be flawless.
Yeah.
So instead of getting into that genetic engineering, we should just make it a way that that inclusion,
Yeah.
we should. I mean, for Western country like Canada, they're doing that
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
I don't know about. I don't think so. I don't think it's the case with Nigeria,
Yeah.
but I think we should be more critical with it. So, for instance, maybe they should make a policy, like you said, and there was a suggestion, like you mentioned, the suggestion
Yeah.
about it that they should make it like 30% of this seats is
Belong.
going for people that are physically disabled
Yeah.
instead of getting them, instead of doing the enhancement for them.
Yeah.
So it makes, for me, I feel like it makes the world truly beautiful. We're not just trying to like say the world is beautiful because we have different people with different ability
Yeah.
just to make them feel good. If you think about it, just like you having different, okay, imagine a parking lot. Let's just imagine a parking lot. Imagine you have the same car in a parking lot, and imagine another parking lot with different type of cars. Which one do you think you find more attractive?
Huh? You
You
want?
get tired even seeing one particular car in a parking lot, the same car.
Okay. Let me give you. Let me give you a very good scenario. Some few weeks back,
Mm-hmm.
I think they are YouTubers, two YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
The story went viral.
Mm-hmm.
They found out that their fetus
Hmm.
was having some kind of genetic deformity.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
heard about it.
they had to terminate the pregnancy,
Hmm.
and it led to a array of arguments
Argument
online.
about it. Like, should
Yeah,
you do about
yeah,
fetus?
yeah. Some hold the religious ground
Exactly.
that children are gifts from God,
Mm-hmm.
and as such, we have no right to determine who to believe or who not to believe.
I feel like those people are unrealistic, to be honest. They kind of lost touch with reality.
Now you're going to where I'm coming from, where I'm going to. Then a woman made up to like 5 6 minutes video of living with a gifted child. She said the baby was born healthy, good, nothing. That if she had discovered the baby was going to have such medical complication,
Hmm.
she would have aborted the pregnancy. But she gave birth to the child, healthy, good, no problem. Then she said along the way they had medical problems due to medical negligence. The child developed some kind of brain problem.
Hmm.
She said she can't tell the world the trauma, the pain
She
that
has
she
to
has
be.
been through, that she's having a teenage daughter who cannot tell you. what's wrong with her.
Mm.
She's having a teenage child who cannot tell you the problem she's going through. Now, people will say for corrective measures, we can allow for genetic enhancement in such case.
Instead of abortion.
Instead of abortion, you can, use medical, procedures if any is available to correct it.
That's putting me in a tight spot there.
Yeah. So the argument now is if we now give a very, very strong legislature like, hey, put it in place, 30% house for uh, those living with physical deformity and other. First of all, we are already trying to make them know that they are already disadvantaged. Like for instance, being able-bodied that we have,
Mm.
being able-bodied that we have, nobody is going to say, hey, let's legislate a bill for people like IK or Toby, because for the best of my knowledge, I don't think I have any physical deformity.
Mm.
You get
Yeah,
now.
I see.
If we put up such argument to say, let's make it this way, give a legislature, give a legislative bill, 30% reservations for those, does it still address the problem? Maybe in one way or the other, it does. But there are still some societal problems that such bill may not be able to address. Take for instance, in some places uh, they've made it a law that females
Mm.
are children as well, so they are entitled to inheritance.
Mm.
But in some cultures in Nigeria today, some females are still being excluded
Mm.
from inheritance, except some who know their honors. They
Mm.
might take the case up to court and let's go drag it at the court of law, and definitely they will get victory. The law is on their side that all children are equal, whether
Mm.
male or female. Good. But when it comes to making this kind of argument that why don't we have such legislative bill, such law, where whether the person is deformed, whether speech defect, they should be given equal access to
Mm.
whatever the society has. Uh, 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 I think on the face value, we might agree that that is the way to go.
Mm.
But on the other hand, would I now be contesting for election and another person who is less able is contesting from the same state, and they'll tell me to be magnanimous enough
Mm.
to step down for this person? Don't you think I'll feel my right has been trampled on,
Mm.
or a grave injustice has been done to me? So, in order to bring everybody, let's put everybody on this. It's just like this World Cup, for instance. I think 46 or 44 countries are competing for one silverware.
Mm.
Now, everybody is starting off at the same place. So there is no favoritism. There is no saying, hey, France, you are having the best player. Please, when you're playing against, let's say, Paraguay or Senegal, please don't bring in your best players. Go
Mm.
and bring in your less uh,
This skillful player.
player to come play Senegal. You are already doing a grave injustice to the French national side.
Mm.
But FIFA is saying, bring in your best, let's come compete. So I think if we have genetic enhancement in place, everybody there will be a balance of equality where you will not be telling the abled person to vacate or relinquish his or her vision for a less abled person.
So, to be honest, some of um your arguments against mine, they are kind of critical. I can't even think of a response.
We are discussing.
So the first
Mm,
thing, I feel like I'm going to change my conclusion.
yeah.
The first thing is that for adults that want to get into genetic enhancement, it should be regulated, not just because you feel it's good to feel good.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling good about yourself, you might need to like get genetic engineering. But sometimes when people don't feel good, it's not even about themselves. Maybe someone says something to them and they keep on like rethinking it and it's affecting them psychologically. Imagine someone calling me like, see this short guy, and I keep rethinking it. I'll start feeling somehow and I feel like I should get my height increased. You know what I mean? So for adults, they should get it regulated, the genetic enhancement. And the second thing is that they should get in like maybe therapy. They should have therapy section to know if what they're feeling. Because so many of these, for instance, let's use Brazilian butt sleeve as an example. So many of them they get into this thing because of societal pressure or they don't feel good about themselves. And some is from the fact that someone maybe bullied them with like verbal abuse or something. So they should get into like therapy section before like even thinking of like then if their desire remains the same of getting genetic enhancement, they should make sure that you follow due process in making sure that do you need it. If you don't need it, they should cancel it, right? So for kids, that one is leaving me with the option of like let's say after uh what's the name of this scan again? When you scan a child and whenever you know the child has is defective, yeah. So once you notice that, and you have the option of aborting that child or getting giving birth to that child and getting genetic enhancement. So you have two options.
Yeah.
One is do you want to abort
Or you want to enhance.
or you want to enhance. So now that's leaving us with the question of which one do we think that people would go for? And I'll say that's the question to our audience or our viewers or commentators or whoever is interested in this topic. Do you think if you receive a news of you having a defective fetus, again, it's good to be optimistic, but it can happen to anybody. Let's be realistic because sometimes as Nigerians, we're always very optimistic and trying to say, I know it can never happen to me. So let's say you receive such a news that your fetus is defective and you're having they're giving you two. I think it's intuitively you go for genetic enhancement, but I don't want to assume. I don't know what you think. I don't know if you want to go through that process. What do you think? Would you get genetic enhancement or you just abort the fetus? Now we are trying to limit it's more like even limit the problem of abortion. The one for adults is kind of complicated because some of them it's through verbal bullying and they're not feeling good about themselves. Some of them they want to get into some sports like you said and they feel like they should get enhancement. That one is a little bit more complicated. But for children, I think that one is not really complicated. Oh, sorry. So that one is not really complicated and you're having like two options. Do you want to get abortion
or do you want to enhance?
do you want to enhance?
I think leaving the audience with these options even calls for more critical discussion. Because, for instance, even those who claim that you trying to enhance the fetus is you playing God, or rather, you trying to abort the fetus is you playing God. Just like as you rightly said earlier, that they are being far from reality.
Yeah.
So many of us we're still living in this optimistic paradise that there's nothing God cannot do until the challenges that comes with that come with having a child with disability set in, then you know that if I had known, I would have done,
On this.
yeah, X, Y, Z. So one, when when you know you can, for instance, those living with sickle cell anemia, there are now medical procedures where they can move from SS to AS or AA, as the case may be. Now, when we have things like that,
That's the genetic enhancement.
yeah, yeah,
It makes sense.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. So when you have things like that, it also reduces, it even helps the Christian or the religious argument against abortion.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of aborting, why don't you use other procedures to correct the defects? Instead of just saying, let me terminate this pregnancy. Like, for instance, you find out that, okay, the child that I and my partner were having is maybe SS. This child is going to have sickle cell anemia.
Yeah.
When I already know that, okay, there are medical procedures to correct it. Instead of saying, no, we are aborting, we just go ahead and have the baby. Then, when he or she is old enough to undergo the procedure, he or she goes through the procedure, and the problem with sickle cell anemia is far gone and is fully resolved. So I think enhancement on its own is not all about we playing God.
Yeah.
It's not all about we playing God. Just like, as you've mentioned earlier, that people might not feel comfortable with their life.
Yeah.
Some might not feel comfortable with how they perceive themselves or how others perceive them. I think there we cannot say you just have to be contented. If you have passion for basketball and maybe you don't meet the height requirement, there are other sports that the person can also, try if you are a person of sport and all that. Yeah, but when we have those that when we have medical problems that have to do with kids, instead of terminating, and when we know there are procedures that can correct the defect, I think the best bet is to use enhancement. That's my own submission.
Yeah. So some people might disagree with it.
Sure,
Because
sure.
for me, I think that is better than abortion.
Yeah,
Though when it comes to abortion, my own view is always about, especially when it comes to defective fetus, my
yeah,
own view is always that the parents are the ones to judge the circumstance they find themselves
yeah,
if they can deal with
yeah,
it. But I think this is a better option for parents.
yeah.
But the problem is that not everybody, I don't think everybody can afford genetic engineering unless it's available to even the common.
That's another aspect where we say it is the politics can come in, where the government can help
Funding.
subsidize or fund, even if it is not total funding, but at least just to drop subsidy where, even for instance, the procedure is going to cost millions of naira or thousands of dollars. We can have the government agencies that, okay, we take care of like 30-40% of it, and then also lift the burden from the parents.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I really appreciate this discussion.